3 years ago, I started sewing my own clothes, and I've realized that since starting to sewing my own clothes, I have started also to look at clothes differently. Before learning how to sew, I looked at clothes differently. When I went to a store, I looked for a dress, or I looked for a blazer or a pair of pants or jeans or something like that. While now when I go to a store, I look for things that I cannot make myself. There are a few different things that I look for to know if it's a piece that I can easily make myself, and if I can, I don't buy it and I go home and I make it myself. The first piece that I made myself, that was 3 years ago, and I saw this dress on Instagram. I thought it was super cute, and since we were in a pandemic, it was in the beginning of the pandemic, we had like restrictions. They told us to stay at home. So I figured if I'm gonna be staying at home, I have to have a hobby. I need to make something constructive with my time. So I started sewing, but I wasn't prepared and I didn't have any plan. I only wanted to make something. So I took what I already had at home, and in this case, it was an old sheet. So this dress, as you can see, it has a few different parts. So the sleeves are obviously one part, and then it has the top and the ruffles. You can see the seams pretty clearly. So I figured like, okay, so if I can make the top and only the top, I can probably build from there. As I said, I had no training in sewing. I haven't gone to like fashion school or anything like that. I have just learned by doing and watching a bunch of tutorials on YouTube. And I think this is something that anyone can do. You just need a sewing machine. What I liked about the dress was the complete dress. It looked airy and cute and flowy, and I wanted something like that. I could see that it was in cotton, or it looked like it was in cotton, and I figured, okay, so it's probably in something that I have at home. So I just deconstructed it in my brain and I did it piece by piece. I first made the top using myself as a guide. I didn't have a pattern. Obviously, this was just like a Tuesday or something in the middle of the week. I wasn't preparing anything. So I was like, okay, so I just tried to replicate what I saw from the photo. And this way is the way that I still make clothes today. Sometimes I don't have a pattern and I just freestyle it, and I usually start with the top part. And if that fits me, I can build from there. Clothes that I no longer buy are high-waisted, wide-legged pants. These are quite easy to make yourself, also with pockets. I was a little bit scared of pockets before, but now I feel quite confident with side pockets, so that's quite easy to make. And there are many patterns out there that are beginner friendly. They look very nice in linen fabric and also in cotton, or a thicker cotton, or like maybe a mix of cotton and something, also in wool. And this is something that is quite cheap to buy, especially linen and cotton isn't that expensive. And when I buy fabric, I always look in the thrift store and see if I can find some textiles there. And if not, I try to find them in a fabric store, and I look for organic cotton, or I buy linen. Linen is quite friendly on the environment. Shorts are basically the same thing. I like high-waisted shorts, and it's just a pair of pants that are shorter. So these require less fabric. They are quite simple and very fast to make. If you think about it, like, you only need one pattern. You can buy a beginner-friendly sewing pattern for a wide-legged pant with a high waist, if that's what you like. And then you just shorten it and you have a pair of shorts. When it comes to dresses, most dresses that I make, and I guess it's also the style that I like, are very simple. The lines are quite simple. It's like straight lines, maybe an A-line shape. Maybe the closing, maybe you don't even need a zipper. I was a little bit scared of making clothes with a zipper, but you can usually close a dress with a button, which is super easy to make. And you usually don't even need a button. You can also make a dress that you just put over your head and you're good to go. So dresses are actually quite easy to make. It's just a piece of fabric that you put over your head and then you look cute. Recently I made a dress with lots of straps in the back, or actually it's just 2 straps that go back and forth and create a nice pattern in the back. I was looking on Reformation's website for inspiration on something that would like spark my inspiration to sew, but also something that I would want to wear. And as I mentioned, I usually wear clothes that are quite simple, but I wanted something that would have a little more impact and feel more like an elegant dress rather than just a very basic dress. So I did the same thing here. I didn't have a pattern. I looked at the dress and I figured, okay, so it's like this kind of front top piece. If I start with that and then build from there. I know the skirt is usually just 2 rectangles. If you want to add pockets, that's another step, but usually it's just 2 rectangles and that's super easy. And then I figured, okay, so the back is just straps, and straps aren't very hard to make, and then when you put everything together it gives a super cool effect and it looks harder than it actually is. I also saw that this dress was in cotton, and cotton is very easy to sew in. It's a nice fabric to start with, and it's also a nice fabric to wear, and a lot of clothes are in cotton, so I figured it was a nice dress that could give that effect of being more dressed up, but that was still very easy to make. This particular dress I made over a day, I think, but I was also filming, so every time I'm filming at the same time as sewing, I do everything myself. It's gonna take me a little longer, but if you're not filming it while sewing, it's gonna take you, I don't know, maybe 5-6 hours, unless you are very fast. If you have one good pattern, you can make so many different versions of the same pattern. If you have a shirt pattern, you can crop it, or you can make it longer, you can extend it and make it like into a shirt dress, or you can wear it like as a jacket if you make it with a longer sleeve. So there are so many different options if you only have one pattern, and you can find good patterns on Etsy but also in your local fabric store. This pattern is from Tropical Research and I've made so many different versions from it. Let me show you a few of them. This Laguna shirt from Tropical Research is such a good pattern. I've made a bunch of different versions from this pattern, also for both for me and for my husband. It's a men's pattern. This one is a size large, but for myself I wear it as an oversized shirt because I like the little dropped shoulder, and then I just crop it to the length that I want. My husband has it in the full size and it suits him very well. So if you have a good pattern, you can just like experiment with that, and also after a while when you feel more confident, you can alter it differently and like make it a longer sleeve or shorter sleeve, maybe a puffy sleeve, and so on. So don't let that restrict you. It's just the base for your imagination. This means that I don't buy shirts anymore, or I haven't done that in a while. And that's because I have this pattern and I know I can easily make a shirt that I really like. I recently also bought a pattern for a worker jacket, and this one I want to do so many versions of because I really enjoy a good worker jacket. This one I made for my husband recently and I think it turned out super cute, but I want to make more, and I want to also add like embroidery to them because I think that's a quite cool look. And it would be nice to do a worker jacket in a black, like thicker cotton fabric and then embroidered also in black. I think that could look cute. Let me show you some pieces that I would actually buy and why. Anything knitted. There are so many cute tops and dresses that are knitted that are quite hard to make yourself if you don't know how to knit. And I don't know how to knit. I think it's so hard to knit. I'm so impressed when people knit like sweaters or anything really. I think it's so hard. My mom tried to teach me, but I just don't get it. I think sewing is way more understandable for me, but I've heard the opposite from friends, so I know it's like different for everyone. So anything knitted where the fabric is like knitted in one piece. Nowadays some factories can knit the complete piece in just one go. I guess it's like 3D printing, but in a machine for knitting, which is super cool. But that's something that I would prefer to buy, but also these chunkier sweaters is also something I buy. I buy jeans, and that's because I find it hard to find organic denim, and I don't want to buy any denim. I want to buy organic denim if I'm gonna make it myself. And also because jeans sometimes have details that are hard for me to replicate. I guess I could buy like this little thing to have the metal pieces put on, but I don't. I have made a pair of jeans, but that don't have the typical jeans look. So jeans is something that I still buy, and right now I'm looking for a pair of jeans, like black jeans that are high-waisted or mid-waisted and that I can wear with like an oversized black shirt. I saw a girl wear that a few months ago and I thought it looked so nice. So that's a look that I want to recreate. Since sewing myself, I feel like I have gotten a better understanding of what a piece or like what an item actually is. I see the thread, I see the lines, I see the seams. I really look at the fabric differently. And this leads me to the fabric. When I see a piece that is in the fabric that I know is expensive and I find it in a secondhand store, I will probably buy it secondhand, because silk is something that I don't wanna just go out and buy new, but that is also very expensive. Secondhand silk shirts is something that you can find quite easily in the store. It's hard to find like nice silk dresses, but now I have collected a few silk pieces that have like small holes or a little defect somehow, and I'm thinking about maybe recreating something. I generally feel like in life, anything that I can learn and do myself is worth knowing. I guess this goes for a lot of things. Like if I can make and if I can figure out the method behind it, I can also apply that skill to other parts in life. I feel like sewing or probably anything gives you confidence and is a quite cool skill to have. Also as a woman, because sometimes we are afraid to try and afraid to fail, and I feel sometimes men are more confident that they can do things even though they have no knowledge or skills. They just do it because, I don't know, they are supported by society somehow to act that way. And I just want to empower anyone to try their skills and learn new things, because it's such an empowering feeling and it's a cool thing to know. And I think anything that you do with your own hands will also give you more respect for other people that make things, and this will hopefully lead to people being more mindful when they consume things. I hope this was inspiring, and the next video will be out shortly, so don't forget to subscribe and support my channel.